Littleton moves passes. Probably second. Ms. Clerk, call First Amendment.
House Criminal Justice Committee Amendment number 1.
Chairman Halsey, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Move to adopt, defer to the sponsor for further explanation.
Chairman Halsey moves adoption of Committee Amendment number 1. Probably seconded. Any discussion on the amendment? Seeing none. All those in favor of Committee Amendment number 1 say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. The ayes have it. You adopted. Next amendment, Ms. Clerk.
Mr. Speaker, no further amendments.
Chair Lady Littleton, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. As amended, this bill enhances from a Class D felony to a Class B felony the penalty for a person who negligently by act or omission engages in conduct that places a child 8 years of age or less in imminent danger or of death, bodily injury, or physical or mental impairment. With that, I renew my motion.
Chair Lady Littleton renews the motion. Any discussion on the bill? Representative Pearson, you're recognized.
Thank you, Speaker and sponsor. I see a couple of times here you're moving from a Class A misdemeanor substituting to a Class D felony in Section 1 and Section 2, deleting Class D felony, moving to a Class B felony. Are you using any research to say that by increasing these penalties is going to make any child safer?
Chair Lady Littleton.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Well, that is the hope. And I guess I need to explain that there was a little 2-year-old boy a few months ago that got his dad's fentanyl, and he passed away from that. So this is to protect those children, and at least to punish those that cause harm to their children.
Representative Pearson.
Thank you, and I appreciate that qualitative sort of example. But there's another $1 million in state expenditures that this will cost for increased incarceration, fueling further the carceral state that is getting way too much money from taxpayers. But there are, from what you have at least shared, there's no research saying that by increasing more penalties, making things more felonies, is actually going to prevent any of these tragedies from happening. And maybe I missed it, but in here, did you mention anything to deal with substance abuse use or helping parents who are addicted or on these drugs like fentanyl in the example that you mentioned, or is your resolution only more incarceration?
Chair Lady Littleton.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And if you'll notice, it says that the fiscal note is non-significant, but there are other bills. There are probably 10, 20 other bills to help people that are with addiction, but not this bill.
Representative Pearson.
Thank you. Look, I don't think incarcerating people is a solution to any public health or public policy problem. And increasing these penalties is going to increase the amount of people who are going to be incarcerated, not be rehabilitated, not be helped in order to make our communities and their own families safer. I think we need to make sure kids are protected and are in safe situations. And the one you mentioned obviously is not one of those instances. I believe this probably could be used if a child uses a firearm of their parent and hurts themselves or others. And so this would incarcerate that parent. So I do understand the need for penalties, but what I cannot consent to, what I will not agree to, is more taxpayer dollars being used to increase the amount of people who are incarcerated, which will ultimately balloon our carceral state, continue to give money to private prisons, continue to give money to the people who uphold those institutions that incarcerate folks. And so for those reasons, I cannot be for this legislation, although I appreciate your explanation and intent of making our communities and our children more safe. But I do not believe, and as you have not been able to articulate, incarceration is going to get us there. Thank you.
Chair Lady Littleton.
I renew my motion.